Hi Bold Bakers, today we are talking donuts, specifically glazes. A donut is only as good as its glaze, and I've got 5 for you today. We have vanilla, funfetti, chocolate, maple, and cinnamon. So we have no time to waste, so let's get going. So first things first, you need a donut recipe, and I have loads to choose from. Some of my most popular on biggerbolderbaking.com are my baked, not fried donuts. These are a yeasted dough that I actually bake in the oven rather than fry them. They were a huge hit and they look and taste amazing. Some of my favorites are my no yeast donuts. These are made with buttermilk. They're kind of cakier and heavier. Those are my absolute favorite. And we also have our donuts for fall, our apple cider donuts, which are really nice because they have a little bit of spice in them with cinnamon and nutmeg. Most recently, I did a recipe for homemade Dunkin' Donuts, and it was a really lovely dough that you fry off and then you dip in a chocolate glaze. Those were a huge hit. I also have an array of cake donuts, from red velvet to carrot cake to really decadent chocolate ones. So no matter what donut you want, I've got something for you to choose from. So today we're going to glaze my favorite, which is my no yeast donuts. I made the dough earlier, I fried them off, and now they're ready to be glazed, so let's go. First up, we're going to do our vanilla glaze. It's a simple one, but one of my favorites. For all the bases of the glaze, you're going to need powdered sugar. And then to this, we're going to add a few different ingredients to get our different flavors. So for vanilla, into my powdered sugar, I'm going to add in a little bit of vanilla extract and a small amount of milk. And then whisk these ingredients together until you get a glaze that's kind of a dripping consistency. Be careful not to add in too much liquid because it'll be too runny. And there you go. That's your vanilla glaze. When they've just been cooked and they're nice and fresh, the glaze sticks to them so much better because they're still warm, and it kind of creates this lovely shell. I cannot resist a freshly cooked and glazed donut, so here goes. So this isn't an overly sweet donut, so the glaze that you put on it is that lovely kind of little bit of sweetness, and then also the vanilla in there just makes me want to eat more and more and more. I'm not going to fill up on this donut because the next one we're going to make is funfetti, the perfect donut for any birthday celebration. So it's going to be very similar but different to the vanilla. We're going to start out again with some powdered sugar, a little bit of vanilla extract, but to this one we're going to add in also a little bit of almond extract, which just gives you that lovely birthday cake flavor. And then we're also going to color it a fun color. So I'm going to put a drop of red in there and then add my milk and whisk it together. So then you end up with this gorgeous, vibrant pink glaze. Look at that. So this glaze is a little bit thicker, so it would coat the donut well. Then pop it onto your tray, and just before your icing sets, sprinkle over a generous amount of sprinkles, just to make it extra festive. Because I have no patience, I'm not going to wait for the glaze to set. Oh my gosh. This deserves a happy dance. It's like a party in your mouth. I just love the flavor of the almond extract and the vanilla together. And then just look at all those sprinkles. I mean, seriously, how could that not make you happy? So our next donut glaze is something that I think is quite iconic when it comes to donut glazes. It's maple glaze. I love this flavor because it's a little bit like hickory, a little bit like coffee, caramel tones, and then like slight bit of sweetness. It's just perfect complement to the donut. So into our powdered sugar, we are going to add in some pure maple syrup. Now I recommend buying good quality. Spending that little bit extra will be well worth it. And we're going to add a splash of vanilla to this, and then just a little bit of milk to give you that runny consistency that we had with our other glazes. Go ahead and submerge your donut in there. Get it all over. Let any excess drip off and place it onto your rack to set. The reason it's best to do this with a warm donut is because your glaze kind of just finds its own way and just makes a shell around the donut. So you get this perfect kind of thin layer of glaze all over. So a few years ago, Kevin and I took a trip to Vermont. I really, really wanted to do it. It was on my bucket list. We went kind of like late October. So all the leaves had changed and it was like really fall, and the air was so crisp and the sky was so blue. And while we were there, we ate so many apple fritters, maple donuts, things like this, with just a really good quality maple syrup. And that's what this reminds me of. Just that kind of like a little bit of caramelly notes, a little bit of like hickory, just really like the perfect balance of a little bit almost bitter and sweetness. Absolutely delicious. So maple was amazing, but I think we can all agree that the next one is definitely a classic donut glaze. It's a fan favorite for sure, chocolate. So into our powdered sugar this time, we're going to add in cocoa powder. Now I want you to use a good quality cocoa powder, not hot chocolate powder, and just make sure you use good quality so you just really get a lovely kind of smooth chocolate flavor. A little bit of vanilla extract, probably could have guessed that one, and a splash of milk. And then whisk these ingredients together until it's smooth. I love this glaze because it just reminds me of going into a donut shop and seeing all the shiny chocolate donuts. Then take your donut, give it a dunk in there, shake off the excess, and then place it on your tray. Here I have some chocolate decorations, so I'm gonna sprinkle those on top just because we're a little bit extra in this household. Check that out. That's the kind of donut you want to face plant into it. Oh my gosh, not only does it look amazing, that chocolate glaze, oh my gosh. It's like bittersweet, a little bit of vanilla in there. It tastes just like a donut from a donut shop. This glaze is perfect to go on top of my homemade Dunkin' Donuts. It just complements them so well. The next one I'm going to show you is cinnamon sugar. Now that seems like a little bit of an obvious one to make, but I'm going to show you my secret ingredient that will have you coming back for more. So in my bowl this time I have granulated sugar, not powdered sugar. You can use a caster sugar, something nice and fine. Then into this I'm going to add in my ground cinnamon. So now my secret ingredient is salt. Now how I discovered this was that a few years ago I had salt in my sugar by accident and I made cinnamon sugar and it just ended up with this lovely kind of salty sweet balance. It was just super delicious and everything that I put it on, it made it yummy. So then I realized it made a great coating for donuts. So while your donut's still warm, dunk it in there, toss it all around, get it well coated, and there you have it. The good thing about this coating is you don't have to wait for it to set. Oh my gosh. That little bit of salt in there just makes it almost like magical. You got a little bit warm from the spice, sweet, and a little bit salty. This coating is just 3 ingredients, but when I go to a donut shop here in Los Angeles, this is the one that I go for. It has a little bit of everything for me. So now you know how to make donut glazes. Head over to biggerbolderbaking.com, choose which donut recipe you'd like to make and get into the kitchen and start baking. You will not regret it.